little update here on the haunted house this year. Remember, I'm doing a swamp themed haunted house, and this is just going to be a simple walkthrough. A simple, like a U shape. So I've got my garage kind of all cleaned out. I got a bunch of lumber here that I'm going to make the frame out of. I've got all the CrossFit equipment kind of pushed to the side. So basically everything is just going to be in this empty cavity space here. And I got a tape measure here that kind of maps out where the black fabric will be coming down. Actually, it'll be over to the right a little bit more. But basically you just walk through here and then turn down here and then go out the other way. And I'm just using lasers, fog, and sound this year. I might have one scare at the end. I'm just not sure if I'm going to put like a prop or something out there. Just depends. I'll have a couple cavities, like this will be a cavity area here. And I might put one of the Fog Fury jets to spray up a geyser. I have two of those, so I may put one back over here too. It just depends. But so right now what I'm working on is I'm going to build the frame, and essentially it's just going to be a 10-foot by 17-foot ceiling truss system. Really, it's just going to be pretty basic. It's just supporting the fabric and maybe some lasers. I may put a speaker or two up there. Just depends on how everything kind of goes. But I'll build the basic frame structure and maybe put 2x4 every 3 feet, and then I'll raise it up and put some verticals going down this way, and that way I can stretch the fabrics to keep everything nice and tight. And then I'll paint all of the 2x4s with flat black. So the setup's pretty basic, and then when the fabric comes down, I will probably hold it, I don't know, maybe about 6 inches from the floor. That way I can hide foggers and stuff behind it. And then the lasers will actually be mounted on the inside. So you'll be able to see where the lasers are mounted. I haven't quite figured out, because I'll put if the 2x4 is here, I'll put the fabric running behind it and then the laser mounted on the side of the 2x4, so it shouldn't really stick out too much. But again, there's going to be lasers up high. Those will be the blue lasers to create that liquid sky effect. And then the green lasers kind of down low. I'll probably mount them maybe 2 feet, probably 2 feet off the ground, because I want it to feel like you're wading in a bog, And then of course how that effect works is that laser bounces off that fog and you can't see below it. So a couple of things. I got all my fabric here. I was kind of running low on black fabric. It's just kind of gotten beat up over the years from, tacks and screws going through it and all of that. So I haven't used the fabric by this company before, but let's see, it's in Suntech. But this is all 10-foot by 20-foot muslin backdrops that like a photographer would use. It's 100% polyester, and on the description, I bought it from Amazon, it says there's no sheen to it, so I can tell that was a total lie. So there definitely is a little bit of a sheen to this, which I wish there wasn't. Now when I paint the 2x4s, because everything's going to be essentially masked off and there's horse mats on the floor, I may put some drop cloth down or whatever and just shoot with an HVLP gun. I'll just shoot some flat black paint. When I paint all the 2x4s, I may mist this a little bit with some black paint. That'll help add some additional material to the fabric so you can't see through it, although there shouldn't be any lights or anything behind the fabric. But you don't want to use plastic like this because that light's going to reflect. If you are doing a haunted house and you're using, you know, a PVC frame or a wooden frame or anything, and you want to, you know, black it out, a lot of people use plastic because it's fairly inexpensive. But the problem with plastic is it's so reflective that, I don't know, it just kind of looks cheap. I mean, if you can invest, maybe over the years, you know, start investing in this muslin fabric, it actually lasts a long time. It's relatively inexpensive. I want to say a 10-foot by 20-foot thing is like, I don't know, $30. But it comes in all different sizes. You can see on the pamphlet here. It's they have 5x7, 6x9, 10x12. Obviously, the bigger you buy, the cheaper it's going to be. So if you do have a large area, you can, you know, buy a 10x20 or 10x24. Smaller areas, obviously, you can buy the smaller stuff and just buy what kind of fits your needs. Nice thing about these is they do have a sleeve for a rod to go through. If you are using, like, doing a PVC frame, like a PVC maze or walkthrough, then that would make it very convenient just to hang up that fabric. But again, I like the fabric because it absorbs light. It doesn't reflect light like the black plastic does. I was just taking kind of a shot in the dark, no pun intended, when I bought this, but it claimed that it wasn't reflective, but you can see there's a little bit of a sheen on there, and that's probably going to bother me, unless it's the other side. Let me look at the other side. Oh, okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, that's perfect. So the other side, you can see there's no sheen on it. So when I mount these, I have to make sure that I have that dull side facing in. That's going to make a huge difference. That's actually pretty good material, and you can't really see through it either. Anyway, okay, well, happy about that. That makes things easy. So, yeah, that is it in a nutshell. I was thinking about doing like a shack, like a swamp shack or a facade back here. And then I was even thinking about covering the mill with a facade of an outhouse. So I'm not sure about that, but I had a couple of ideas with the controllers I'm using, and I'll post a separate video on the controllers in a little bit more detail on how that's actually going to control the show. I'm using 2 controllers and a total of 4 motion detectors with 4 scare sounds, and then I might put the Fog Fury jets in here as well. So one of the things I was thinking about doing is, as one of the motion sensors goes off, depending on what type of scare it is, I was thinking about, and depending on how much light those lasers put off. My first video I did, I talked about how much light those lasers actually put off. So I don't know how dark it's going to be. I just have to wait and see until I get them all hooked up. But one thought I had is when the motion sensor goes off and the scare sound plays and all that, I could have all of the lasers on a single circuit, and then I could cut that circuit out so it goes completely dark with just the scare sound. So I might play around with that, with the programming. If you have any ideas on how that should work, just go ahead and comment down below. I haven't done this before, so this is kind of new territory for me, and I'll post up some follow-up videos for sure, let you know the progress, and then I'll also do like a time lapse of me building this frame.